Part 2, the ass hat strikes back. So what happens next? It's unbelievable. So ass hat's been working hours getting the harmonic balancer off, and Michael's starting to notice. My son Michael, he has the Plymouth Chrysler, what the hell is it? It's a Chrysler Pacifica. And he says he's trying to pull the water pump off, Mom. He's literally trying to rip it out instead of removing 3 screws that needed to be. It was like he said he didn't want to work that day. He just wanted to get it done and get it done fast, and it was taking more time because he wasn't doing things in an orderly manner. He was screwing up. He didn't seem to know what he was really doing. This made me extremely nervous, as you could well imagine. And finally, when Ass Hat ripped a seal that Michael kept warning him, don't do that, Jason. If you keep doing this, you're going to rip the seal. Well, he did. Thank God it wasn't the seal Michael thought it was, because he thought it was on the head, and it wasn't. And all hell broke loose. I've never seen Michael that mad in my whole life, and Maggie was terrified. Anyway, Ass Hat went and sat in the back of my van because he literally, you know what, I'll tell you. I won't leave it for part 3, but he drove my van back here. He drove my van, a 6-cylinder on 4 cylinders, back here. I'd learn much more than just that after I got. You'll see in part 3. So he's sitting in the back of the van. There's tools all over the place. And I said, you lied. You said you were a mechanic, licensed and insured. If you were licensed and insured, why don't you want to replace the parts you damaged on Denny's, vehicle? And Michael basically said, you're going to sit right there while we work this out. I wanted my money returned. I sent him $708 through Cash App for an engine, supplies, and the delivery charge to get the engine, bring it back to his place. And it was hours, 5:30 to 8:30. He couldn't get into his Cash App. He showed my son his phone, which had been run over by a car earlier, so he wasn't obviously having a good day. And he was mumbling something about the pipes having leaked in his house, and he needed to get back home, and he wasn't going to finish the job. And then he ripped the seal and, just was doing stupid crap. And so because he didn't have a phone, Mike had to keep trying different phones he had and putting the SIM card in it, trying to get him on the Cash App, but he couldn't get the Cash App to work. That could be because I made a report to Cash App and called it a scam. And that kind of shut the whole thing down. So I told Ass Hat that I was keeping his tools. He brought most of his tools here. They're now in my van. And when upon inspection of my van, I realized that he used over a half a tank of my gas. He must have been driving it around. And this guy that he picked up off the street, supposedly a friend, I think was living in my van, in his yard. More on that in part 3. Nothing got resolved, and I paid for an Uber to send him home. So now I'll tell you the rest of the story in part 3 because I'm almost at 5 minutes again, and it's just easier and faster for people to be able to just watch shorter videos, I think. So that's my story on part 2, sticking to it. Ass Hat went home. I have Ass Hat's tools. Somewhere $708 is floating around. in the ionosphere. Will I ever see it again? I don't know. But that will lead us to part 3. I'll talk about that shortly. I do it in the backyard. The dogs won't start barking, and I just can't deal with the neighbor's dogs barking. Okay, that's it.